In this section, we're going to talk about the magical Findhorn Gardens. Findhorn is a village in Moray, Scotland. It's located on the eastern shore of the Findhorn Bay and south of Moray Firth. You may have heard about Findhorn way back in the 70s and early 80s. It's known for its magical gardens that produce 40-pound cabbages in poor rocky soil and roses that bloomed in the snow. It is a real place, and it still exists. So the Findhorn story is something that should be made into a movie because parts of it are quite unbelievable, though it is true, and parts of it are just like, what? So I'm just going to tell you what I've researched and found, and you can draw your own conclusions. Back in 1962, there were three people, Eileen Caddy, Peter Caddy, and Dorothy McLean, and they moved into a caravan park, which is a trailer park, in Findhorn Bay. It's a long story, lots of drama, lots of romantic entanglements and things you'd want to see in such a movie. But Peter Caddy was fired from his job as a hotel manager where he and his family lived. And they had no place to go. So he and his family moved a trailer and their three kids and their colleague Dorothy into this trailer park that was on the edge of a garbage dump near Findhorn Beach. So as I said, there's several versions of this story because there's several websites and books about it. One of them is, and most of them agree, that Dorothy was able to talk to nature spirits and nature devas that took care of the plants in their garden. And this was one of the reasons that the gardens were able to thrive in rocky soil, and they produced huge vegetables and roses in the snow and all kinds of wondrous things that just wouldn't happen in that kind of environment and soil. It's also said that they took advice from a man named Rock, who lived in Edinburgh, who could see nature spirits, elves, fauns, and fairies. And he has a book out which describes all these things as well. That should be a separate movie. Absolutely incredible. So this is an old picture of the trailer park they were living in. Now, there were 3 children and 3 adults living in this trailer, and they added a little add-on to it eventually. But you can see that they were very poor. They didn't have much there, and they had the little greenhouse that they finally built. But it's, like I said, it's an amazing story of a few people who just had faith. They had no money, and they were able to create a magical garden, talking to fairies, angels, devas, and just believing in prayer. So this is a quote from the book The Magic of Findhorn by Paul Hawken, who actually visited the community way back when these things were happening, and he interviewed everyone there. And this is a quote by Dorothy McLean, who was the woman who was able to communicate with the nature devas and the spirits, which caused these plants to grow in this rocky soil and all the miracles that happened there. So I'm not going to read it. I'm going to pause this a little bit so you can read it yourself because I would do it injustice in my own voice. So then in 1972, Findhorn Foundation was formed. They were getting a lot of publicity. People were coming all over to visit them. There were all kinds of famous gurus and New Age types moving into the area to check out this garden. And by the mid-1970s, Peter Caddy stopped working in the garden, and it was said that the vegetables no longer grew to the enormous sizes. The 40-pound cabbages just stopped growing. Like I said, doing research on this, I found conflicting stories about the people involved, their belief systems. There are all kinds of belief systems in this, not just one type. And the one constant belief with all of it, though, is that they all prayed, they all talked and respected nature spirits. If you're more interested in this story, because it is a great story, I would recommend reading The Magic of Findhorn, however you want to pronounce it. It is written by Paul Hawken, who actually went there and stayed there for a while and wrote what he saw. And it's pretty incredible. Like I said, it should be made into a movie. Um, the second half of the book is more like Lord of the Rings, where you're meeting elves and dwarves and all kinds of nature spirits. The first half is more about the personal development of these people and their romantic entanglements and drama and things like that. A very fascinating story. This book is hard to find. It was on Amazon used for like $250, which I was not willing to pay. I had this book way back in the 80s and lost it. I did find it on eBay, so you can find it inexpensively on other sources if you're interested, or hopefully your library will have it. If you're more interested about the nature devas and the spirits and the fairies and the gnomes that lived in Findhorn, you can read the book Encounters with Nature Spirits. Now, this is written by the man that they called Rock, who is R. Crombie, and it is a great book. This man actually claims to have seen gnomes and elves and fairies and even Pan. And it was written way back, and he's dead now, of course, but it is a fascinating book, and if you're into nature spirits and those types of things, this is a wonderful book to have in your library.